Pollock from the Extension Service joins us on the telephone this morning, and you can give Bob a call at 479-1160. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. I don't have the official word yet, Bob, but we may be able to welcome you back into the studio as of July 1st. Looks like we're going to be able to open the doors again. Just saying. Maybe. Yeah. Otherwise,
hopefully.
And since next Friday is the official legal holiday, we're going to have some special programming on, so we're going to ask you to come and join us on Thursday. Is that okay?
Okay. That will work.
Cool. That'll be fun. Okay, so as I said, 479-1160 if you have a question for Bob Pollock this morning. As we get through the month of June, we're in the last Friday of the month of June. And Bob, as we take our nightly walk and go over the bridge, over the Little Mahoning, we notice that even with some extra rain this week, we're down, aren't we, for the month of June in precipitation?
Yes, we are. It's amazing how quickly we can go from having a big advantage or on the plus side to be on the deficit side.
Mm-hmm. Are we on the deficit side for the year?
Not yet for the year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the last 30 to 60 days, we've not gotten what we normally would get through the law of averages.
We're trending downward, is what you're saying.
Yes, we are. We're chipping away at our
surplus.
Excess, our surplus, yes.
Okay.
Our bank, we're taking money out of the bank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. And obviously that does things to our crops, to our lawns, to everything else. Let's start on the lawn. If we notice that we're not getting as much rain, but the yard is still nice and green, are there adjustments that we need to make in our mowing practices if we think that, okay, over the last 30 days, it's been pretty dry. What if the next 30 are?
Well, one of the things we'll notice is there are probably spots where it's maybe browning out or is already browned out,
mm-hmm.
and other places where it's still kind of green yet. That tells you that the soil type is a little bit different in that particular area. There might be more clay, it might not drain as well, but for whatever reason, it might be more compacted in that particular area that it's browning out first. There could be less topsoil there and more subsoil. So number of reasons why you might have spots or areas. There could be rock underneath there, so the soil's shallower, and there could be a big stone or just rock formation in the subsoil that allows that to dry out quicker and brown out. Typically, though, we're better off just letting that happen, unless you have irrigation to keep it going or need to for whatever reason. Usually we just let them go.
Yeah.
They'll kind of go into dormancy on their own to try and preserve moisture as best they can, and then when we get a little moisture, they'll green up again and go from there.
So we don't have to adjust our mower deck heights and try to cut it longer, if you will.
Yeah, we should have it up there anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we're mowing higher to begin with, and that's right, if you're already mowing really low, that plant's already stressed because it's so short. It doesn't have very much leaf area there to respond and do well, as well as make its own food through photosynthesis.
Yeah.
So the shorter we cut it, the more stressed we make the grass. And then when we do get in a period of moisture stress, in our case now, as well as, of course, the temperatures haven't been that bad, really.
No, they've been good.
So that's probably helped us because it's not in the 90s in baking things.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps.
Yeah.
But mowing higher, so if you have been mowing lower, yes, it would be good to raise that up a notch or two. Some mowers are easier to do that than others. And that will help shade the ground, which keeps the ground cooler, which is better for the root systems of the plants.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, of course, there's not a lot of, one of the advantages of drier weather is we tend to get You don't have to mow as often, but also the weeds are trying to preserve themselves also. Now, they may look greener. They may still go to seed, but they're under stress too. So they tend to not grow as much, grow slower.
All right. We have a caller for you this morning. I'm going to have to put you on hold and then bring you back because I don't want to lose you.
Okay.
I don't want to lose you, Bob. So hang on just a second here. Let's press this button, put Bob on hold, and then bring him back up here and bring our caller back up here, and we should be hooked up with both of you. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hello. What can we do for you?
I have a quick question, not regarding the lawns. We're being inundated by black ants. Once in a while, we'd have an issue, throughout the year, but all of a sudden they're back. What is there? Because of the dryness, or is there something we should be doing to get these black ants out of the house?
Oh, they're in the house, Bob.
Ugh.
Are they tiny or are they large?
No, they're the big ones, the big black ants.
Okay. All right. So we're probably dealing with the black carpenter ants. So we need to start looking around. And when it does get drier, we tend to see more activity there. They also need some moisture as well. So they'll be seeking out places where there's a little bit more moisture or where it's a little bit cooler. They tend to make nests in decaying wood, which usually has some moisture content in there. So one of the things you need to look around for, is there any decaying wood anywhere, whether that be an outdoor structure, posts in the ground, decking, any of that material that could be in contact with the soil that could be decaying, and then they could be nesting in there, but now they're foraging out. And then, of course, we can also have maybe a leak in our water system or plumbing system somewhere where there's moisture getting the structural wood wet and damp, and they're going towards that and may even be trying to make a nest in that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's two problems there. Then you got to get rid of the ants. You got to fix the wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now those don't necessarily always go together, because you can have foraging ants coming around looking and not have a problem, or it could be the beginnings of a problem. And it can also be an issue that's outside, but they've found a way to get in. So try to go around the perimeter of the house if at all possible and observe, see if there's ant activity out there, especially where porch posts go into the ground, anything like that. That could be a starting point.
Okay, very good. Anything else?
Well, now, as far as treatment, I've always done what my parents did their whole life. We used the taro stuff, the little stuff you put on the card and you put around in the house. Is that the best treatment, or do you have something else that perhaps you recommend?
Well, that may not work as well for the carpenter ant.
Okay.
You can try it. It may, again, the more we can try and figure out where they're coming from, and then if you're seeing them in a particular room or area of the house, then that's the area I'd start looking around inside as well as outside, because it could be underneath a sink. The sink drain could be leaking, and those things are all hidden, and unless we crawl down there and look at things, we can miss that. Or a pipe is just starting to eat through, and that's letting moisture get down through and into the structural wood.
So for those big black carpenter ants, you're thinking not taro, but is there a spray or is there some other treatment? Obviously, you want to get rid of what's attracting them, but what do you do to get rid of them now?
Yeah, and sometimes we'll use, there's liquids and that can be treated. You can spot treat. You can do crack and crevice treatment. You can also use the borax type materials that are more of a powder material, and those can be used along the baseboards around that area where you're seeing the activity. And then, of course, when we go outside, and there's sprays as well, and they're all labeled for ant control. And then when you go outside, then that there are more options there for different materials that can. You use a band treatment along the foundation of the house. But again, finding if there's old stumps, say there was trees cut down or you have a woods close by, oftentimes those carpenter ants will nest in that decaying stump, and that can be the whole source of the issue. And then once you find that, then we can just treat the source, and it takes care of it, and it saves a lot of time and hassle.
I'm getting my shoes on now. I'm going out looking.
There you go. Okay. Have a wonderful day out there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too.
You're welcome. You too.
Bye.
That's very nice. I like that. She's going to get out and do her morning walk and just make it around the house, try to find out what's going on.
Yep.
I like that.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it helps for probing wood, a hammer, screwdriver, something that you can tap. You can check the integrity of the wood because on the surface of the wood it can look like it's okay. It may not have decayed to that point, but internally it could be damp, moist, and soft. And having something that you can tap and probe a little bit can be very helpful in determining whether there's decay there or not.
Yeah. If the only thing that looks good is the layer of paint that you have over top of the board, then you're going
it all together.
You're going to learn that right away, aren't you? All right, very good. And we just have a couple of moments left. I did want to talk a second about flowers, and particularly potted flowers, and the need to keep them watered, and the sort of because I know people still have them planted. They already have them planted for the most part. But what sort of drainage do you need? Do you need to put some stones in the bottom of that hanging basket or that flower pot before you put the dirt in?
Typically not. Sometimes people will just put some stones in the bottom as filler, so we don't have to put so much potting soil in there, depending on the size of the pot. But it doesn't usually help with drainage. The biggest thing we need to do, we can fill the whole container with soil. We just need a drainage hole in that. And a lot of hanging baskets and flower pots already have kind of a built-in drainage system. They've got holes in the bottom, and then they'll have a base on there as well. So the water can, if you get too much water in the pot, it will drain through and then overflow naturally. Used to think that, if we put stones in the bottom, that'll give a place for the water to get away from the root system, but in a container that doesn't have any holes in it.
Yeah.
But really, it's not necessary to do that.
Minimal effect.
Work as well. It actually gives you less volume of soil in the container, so it can actually end up drying out quicker because you've got airspace then in the bottom where those stones are. All
right. Phone's ringing again, but we're out of time for the segment, so unfortunately we can't take that call. That caller can call you, though, at the office at 465-3880. Are you in the office yet, or are you still checking messages?
Yes. Oh, well, we're in the office. The door is still locked. The building is still locked. So just call, leave a message. The messages go, they'll be recorded, but they also get forwarded to my email.
Okay. 465-3880?
Yes.
There's the number, 465-3880. Bob, thanks so much. We'll see you next week on Thursday.
Yes.
Have a great week.
Thank you. You too.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160, AM 1160, AM